Today I'm going to show you how you can bring your 2D graphic into Blender and animate it as a 3D logo. First of all, you use Adobe Illustrator. You have your vector graphic. Make sure it's all on one layer. Then you go to File, you go to Export, Export As, and you need to export it as an SVG graphic. Save it as a graphic on your desktop or whatever you like. Export. On decimal, you can go by 1, it's fine. But I think 2 will also work. Then you can go into Blender. You press A to delete everything. Then you go to File, Import, and go to SVG. Yeah, this one, Scalable Vector Graphics. And you simply go to Desktop or wherever you saved your file. Search for our graphic and import it. So now you can see we have our graphic, but now it's pretty flat. So we want to bring it, to make it bold, to make it look like solid. Also, what I like to do at the beginning, you can press on your numpad, like 1 for this view, 3 for this view, or 7 for this view. You select your graphic and you go to Object, Set Object, Geometry to Origin. So now it's perfectly centered. What we also need to do, we select our graphic. We press R for rotate. Then we press X because we want to rotate it on the X-axis. And we type 90. So our graphic is like this. Well, now we can start to extrude. We just simply click on our graphic. We go here on this green string on geometry, and now we can extrude it. We try with 1. Okay, it's too big, obviously. Let's say, yeah, I think something like this works. What we can also do is now by default, they give it a kind of like black material. We can just delete it by simply click on this minus button. Now we can see it much better. What we can also do to clear it up a little bit, because now you can see the edges are pretty like sharp and it doesn't look really realistic. So what we do, we go back on this green string and we go to depth and type 0.04. Okay, that's too much. Let's try 0.004. Okay, that's better, but it's still a bit too much. So let's go with 2. Let's try 1. Yeah, and I think in this case this works. You can just easily try around what works the best for you, because now you can see the edges are not that sharp anymore. And if you put, for example, some material on your logo, some reflections, it will look much better, much more realistic. So yeah, now we have our 3D logo, and we go to the material tab because we want to make it look nice. And also what we will do afterwards will be the animation, so it will rotate. For the material, we can just simply go here and having a new view on it. Right now we don't have any reflections because we deleted the light, and there's also the environment is just completely gray. So we go to the shading tab, and on the shading tab we can also switch it to this view. We go to world, and now you can see it's this gray background. We can just drag and drop to delete this connection, and we just go here, press Ctrl A, and go to this searching bar and type in environment texture. We click here, we go from this color to surface, and now you can see it's all pink. It means there's like nothing that can be shown right now. So we go to open, and in my case I will put some HDRI background. You can just simply search for it on different websites. It's mostly you can just Google for free HDRI pictures. It's simply just super stretched big photo, and Blender turns it to like a whole environment. Yeah, I think you got the idea. It's perfect for reflections. In this case you don't see any reflections because right now it's matte and not glossy, but we will change it on the next step. We go back to layout. Also what you can do is go on this tab, on this camera tab, go to film and click this transparent check, so you only see the reflections but not the environment. So in my case I like to work like this. Now you select your logo, you go on this ball material properties, you go to new, and now you can see you have a bunch of different options. You can just, for example, make it more metallic. You can't see a big difference because it's still like pretty rough, so you bring down the roughness, and now you can see how the reflections of the environment comes to life. And it looks pretty good. Don't go too low with the roughness because otherwise you can see it's a bit like pixelated from the background. Just make sure it's slightly. And of course you can also go to this base color tab and give it another color. If you don't like this glossy material, you just bring the roughness up again and you have some like kind of plastic look. Also right now we are in this Eevee render engine, which I use for animations because in Blender this program will render single pictures, and of course if you have like if you work with cycles, for example, with this render engine, it takes way more time to render, for example, 200 frames. So I think for simple animations it's totally fine to work with Eevee. And you can also make it look a bit better if you go to you go to this camera tab, render properties, and you check, for example, ambient occlusion. You can also check this bloom. For example, you see this reflections of bloom. It makes it a bit more dreamy with bloom. Screen space reflections is also a nice thing to check. And now it's looking pretty nice. So, okay. Maybe we go to another another color. Okay, I think I will leave it just like kind of chromy. What we will do now is to animate. So this logo will rotate on the Z-axis. First of all, for an animation, you need to set a camera. So we go to Shift A, we press Shift A on our keyboard, and we go to camera. If you press 0 on your numpad, you have the view of the camera. We need to change it. So we press N on our keyboard, go to view on the right side, and then if you see this lock, camera to view, I can show you a bit better. Yeah, camera to view, you check it and you see this line. So now you can easily, by scrolling, move your camera position. And if you go, yeah, then you try to focus it, like bring it centered. The navigation is simply you press your scroll wheel, and then you can just easily move your mouse and change the view. If you use the scroll wheel up and down, you zoom in and out. And if you, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We also don't need this left and right space, so we go to properties again. Sorry, for output properties, and I go with 3000 on the X and 3000 on the Y. I zoom in a bit. Okay. So in this case also, of course, you can set some lights if you want and make some accents by pressing Shift A and bring some, yeah, just some lights or some details. GZ, and you can see also by rotating you can bring some accents, but in this case I think it's okay because we have our HDRI environment and you don't really need some light, some extra lights. Well, now we have our object centered, and like I said, we need to make this rotation animation for our logo. First of all, you need this timeline here. We just need 200 frames, so you can just easily click here, type in 200, and that's it. On the timeline, you go back to 0, click your logo, and then you press I on your keyboard and click rotation, because we want to rotate our logo. It's our starting point, and it also automatically creates a keyframe. It means like it's the starting point of the animation. Then we drag our cursor to the last frame, 200, and we can set another keyframe. But before we do this, we just tell what will happen in the meantime between these two keyframes. So you want a whole rotation. It means we have already selected our logo. We want a rotation. It means we press R on our keyboard. Then we tell Blender on which axis we want the rotation. It's the Z axis, which goes like from the bottom to the top, or vice versa. And then we type in how many degrees it will rotate. In our case, we just put 360, so it will be a whole rotation. Okay, I typed 360. and we just we can put enter. And now we need to set the new keyframe by pressing I on our keyboard again and press and click rotation. And you see it created 2 keyframes, and everything between is the 360 rotation. If you press now the space on your keyboard, you will see the animation. And if you look close, you will see at the end it stops. It gets slowly. Also at the beginning, it's slow, and then it increases the speed. But we want a constant rotation. So what we will do now, press our space key again, go back, and you see this clock. We go to dope sheet, we go to key, and we search for interpolation mode and go to linear. And now if you press the space bar, you see it's like constant speed of the rotation, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, our animation is pretty much finished. Now we'll show how to export this animation and to also finalize it with, for example, Premiere Pro. You can just bring all the frames inside Premiere and render your final animation. Okay, for now you just go to render animation. Okay, wait, I forgot one thing. First of all, you need to tell where Blender will save all the single frames, because in some cases it will choose your desktop, and then your desktop will be full of 200 frames, so it's better to create a folder. And in this case, let me search real quick. Yeah, you go to output properties. On the tab output, you just go on this folder, go to desktop, and you can just easily create a new folder. We name this folder logo animation, YouTube. Okay, it will work. Where are you? Logo animation. We click this folder, accept, and now you see on output it will render all the frames to this folder. So we start render animation, and we will just wait until it's finished. Okay, now you can see we rendered all the single frames from 1 to 200. That's exactly what we need. We have our folder, and it's all inside. So now we go to Premiere Pro, and we bring all our frames together to make it one clip. We go for a new project. We name it logo animation. Okay. New sequence. Let's go for 3000 and 3000. It's like 1:1 format, good for Instagram, for example. And we maybe name the sequence logo animation and click OK. Fine. So we go to data, import, And now we go to our folder. It's here, logo animation. We just click the first frame and make sure this sequence is checked. We go to open. And now you can see we like Premiere Pro just put it into a clip, so we can just drag and drop it here. We use our previous, and you can see you have your nice animation. And you can also, for example, make it longer. You just duplicate it, and it should be a perfect loop. It was just a bit. Yeah. Of course, you can edit your logo here. You can do some color corrections, maybe add some more bloom. Also play with the background, because now you can just easily switch the background, because we rendered it like as PNG files. It means, yeah, we don't have any specific background. It's transparent. And that's how you make your animated logo. You just need to render it out, and you have what you need to.